Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. This is the 1UP Nitro National Series, and it is race number 8 of 25, and we are at the historic Texas World Speedway in College Station, Texas. Truly a track unlike any other we see on the 1UP calendars. And alongside me in the booth today, as always, is Duke Ansack. We've had plenty of races at Texas World a long time ago, but this is now. And these cars will drive this track a lot differently than the cars of old, but we should still expect to see plus 200-mile-an-hour speeds and 3 and 4 wide racing. What's got you most excited about this one here today?
You know, I'm excited about the draft. I love when these cars are able to draft with each other and just stay right together, almost in a pack. There's more banking here than there is at Michigan and Auto Club, so, they're able to go through the corners a little bit faster, so we're edging a little bit closer to like a Talladega style race here. So I'm excited about the draft. I think that this is going to be a comers and goers race for sure. And we've got some heavy hitters starting a little bit farther back as well, so that's going to be exciting as always.
And looking at the starting lineup, we can see Aaron Hall put in a flyer of a lap at a 36.06. He puts himself on the pole for the first time in his career by a full 0.2 of a second over his teammate Sam Dinoto. And he was in turn 0.2 of a second ahead of the third place man, your number 3 car in third. Those Carter Racing System cars had to be on something because they put in some blindingly fast laps to put themselves on the front row.
Absolutely. Both of them are sitting there on the front row. They were both 0.2 ahead of everybody else. In fact, Aaron Hall was 0.4 ahead of everybody else. So those two cars are going to be really, really tough to beat, and that's why I think that one of those two cars is going to go to victory lane today. But as we always see, it's not a guarantee until it's over. So there's a lot of good drivers in the back, especially Alex in the 3 car is having a fantastic season, leading the points, and then Alexa Lutchen close behind, starting in the 4th row. So it's going to be really interesting. I think that there's going to be a lot of comers and goers, like I said earlier, and I'm really excited to see how this race starts.
So with that being said, as we always say, the cars are lined up on the grid and we're ready to bring you the action live from College Station, Texas. Texas World Speedway, home of the 1UP Nitro National Series this week. Stay tuned, the green flag is next. As the pace car pulls onto pit road, it leaves us in the hands of the Carter Racing System pair of Aaron Hall in the 7, Sam Dinoto in the 00, bringing us to the green flag, which is in the air now. And the 8th race of the 1UP Nitro National Series season is underway at Texas World Speedway. And just like that, the field goes 2 by 2, and I'm seeing a couple cars at the back fan out 3 wide. And it looks like the 3 is making a dive on the inside for the lead, and it's not even the second corner, and we're already seeing a pass for the lead.
Yeah, that's incredible. They're 3 wide, but they've got plenty of room here. Look at that gorgeous pack of cars going down the backstretch, led by Alex in the 3 car. That's awesome. They're going 4 wide for 3rd place. Oh, this is going to be such an awesome race.
4 wide off of 4, that's for 4th position. As Alex leads the pack off of 4, he will lead lap number 1 ahead of Aaron Hall, Matthew Polanski, and then who knows who's in 4th anymore. Because look at this pack of cars all battling for that 1 spot. It appears to me that you don't want to be on the very bottom of this track. You want to be 1 lane up or maybe even 2 lanes up to try and get a better run off the corners to launch you down these straightaways and get you sucked up into the draft of the car ahead of you.
Yeah, it looks to me like you're absolutely right there. If you're right on the bottom, you're just having to let off the throttle too much. You want to carry all the momentum you can through the corners. That's why the outside lane is able to work so well. We've got Matthew Polanski making a move for 2nd place right there, which is impressive. He started a few rows back, maybe in the 6th row, I think I saw. So, this is going to be really interesting. I'm noticing that this 3 car is starting to pull away a little bit while they're battling behind, except now they get single file, so that should bring everybody right back to the leader, and then we'll have some more racing action right up front.
So currently it's Alex out front in the number 3 with Aaron Hall in 2nd, Matthew Polanski 3rd. Dylan Young has fought his way from 6th starting spot up to 4th. And Mark Davey in his first full-time race with this 38 team has currently put himself in the top 5, but he's under fire from Sam Dinoto for that position as they roar through turns 1 and 2 and onto the back straightaway. These cars get a lot of speed mounting down here. As you can see, the average speed is all the way up to 193 already, and it's only taken it us 3.5 laps to get there. As this field flies by this race. This race will be a quick one, if barring a yellow flag, but these cars will make the most of it. They're racing hard for every position.
Absolutely, you know, that's just an incredible speed. These guys are absolutely flying. I didn't expect them to spread out quite as much as they have so far. It looks like the 7 had to back off a little bit right there. He was getting too close for comfort to the bumper of the 3 car ahead. But you know, it's a really fascinating thing how these drivers, what the mentality is today. You know, do you want to race up front? Do you want to try to mix it up? Do you want to just hang out in line, you know, and save your stuff for the end? It's really interesting to see who thinks what. Right now they're lined up, but we've yet to see if any of these drivers are really like, hey, I'm going to go and get the lead and just keep it for the rest of the day.
And with no pit stops to speak of in this race, that conservation is going to be critical because you want to save your stuff for the end to mount a charge at the end of this race, as Polanski makes a move on the inside, but it doesn't work, and now he's going to lose the 3rd spot to Dylan Young in the 92 as they dive it off into turn 3 for the 6th time in this race. Young started back in 6th, and now he's making his way up. He's now running 3rd, with only Hall and Alex in the 3 ahead of him. So, and it looks like Hall might actually be making a move for the lead.
Oh, they're going 3 wide.
And Young's making a move down here. 3 wide for the lead, but Young's in that bottom line. He has to back off and wait another day. But Aaron Hall's continuing to make the momentum work. He's still on the inside looking for the lead for the first time today, despite starting on pole.
3 car got a good run on the outside there. He edges just a little bit ahead through the corner. We'll see the 7's on the very bottom, but it's going to work out. 3 car now. Here's what you got to do. You have to make sure you slide back in line, and he didn't, so he's going to lose out to 3rd, and puts him in 3rd place after another pass here. So, you know, that's one of those things. We see it almost every single week. You want to be in the lane with momentum so that you can at least maintain your position after you lose position. A lot of the time you'll get put to the outside, and everybody's going to go by you on the inside. This time it's a little bit of a role reversal because the inside lane isn't quite as good. But it looks like the 3 car is able to make it work, and Polanski just had a checkup right there, and it hurt Sam Dinoto, who started on the front row. I was a little bit surprised. I wasn't able to mention it at the time, but I was surprised to see Sam Dinoto fall so far back so quickly, but it was just, again, with the lanes and the momentum that they have, that's what let that 00 car fall back so far.
Take a look at the 2 Australians in the field battling for 6th position. Mark Davey in the 38, Ryan Caggiano in the 81. Davey making, like I said, his first full-time start in this 38 car. He's been part-time in this ride for earlier in this season. He has a win at Sonoma under his belt, but he's not as versed on the ovals, so this is a good run from him, running in 6th position as we focus our attention now back to the front of the field, where Aaron Hall has the lead, but for how long is the question, because here comes that 3 car with a head of steam coming, but he has to back out on that bottom lane, and that's allowing Dylan Young to get to his outside.
Yeah, that was an aggressive move. I think that you really want to be there and make that move coming out of the corner instead of going into the corner at this track today. You know, there's just too much momentum on the outside of the track coming off of the corner. We'll see right here if the move a little bit. Okay, well, Alex is now going to the bottom here. We'll see if they're not going to push it 3 wide. We'll see if maybe Matthew Polanski is going to help the 3 or hurt him by going 3 wide. Now they're 3 wide for 2nd place, and the racing just gets crazier. See, they're starting to realize now, you know, you want to be up front. The leader so far has had a pretty big advantage with the clean air. So, you know, you want to be up front, you want to have the clean air, and the best place in the field right now is 1st.
With Aaron Hall now looking for his 3rd career win. No one else has 2 except for him. But Dylan Young in that 92 looking for his 1st. He's run fairly strong all season long, aside from a DNF here or there. But he's had some strong runs as of late, and he's making a charge up to the lead with help from the 3 and the 18, and Young makes a move to the inside. Will he be able to clear the 7 off of 2? He will not, but now
he will.
Now he's clear. They put Dylan Young in the lead. The Fingai Saitomi Motorsports, number 92, in the lead at lap number 12 of 50.
That was a really good place to make that move. Just went in the middle there. I figure that Aaron Hall's spotter probably told him they were going 3 wide, and that allowed the 92 to run the preferred lane right in the middle of the track right there, while the 7 was up high, making sure there's enough room for 3 cars. It's going to happen here to him again. They started to go in 3 wide. Matthew Polanski backed out. Now the 3 car is going to drive right by him on the exit of the corner, except I'm immediately proven wrong, as per usual with these cars. You know, it's okay. The 3 car brought it back. It made me seem a little bit like I knew what was going on.
So right now it is Ford, Toyota, Chevrolet, not in that order. Ford, Chevrolet, Toyota, the correct order of the top 3. Dylan Young out front, but here comes that 3 car with a momentum around the bottom. Just doesn't look like he's got enough in him to keep Young behind him, because Young squeezes out to another lead, and this one's a bit bigger than the one he had before. So I'm just looking at these cars behind Dylan Young. Who can challenge him for this lead now that he has it? Because Young has shown some very significant speed on these intermediate racetracks. The question is, because Hall is better suited for the short tracks, I feel, but Alex in the 3, he has a win at Atlanta on a intermediate track like this. So, the question is, can Alex challenge, or can even Aaron Hall challenge? But Dylan Young right now is putting those answers to rest, because he is flying right now.
Absolutely, you know, and Matthew Polanski is really impressive so far today. Running in 4th place, he's just biding his time. He's just ahead of Sam Dinoto. They're going 2 wide for 2nd place, but Polanski's just having himself a good run here. You know, he wants to stay in it for the end. We're not quite to halfway yet, so you don't want to wreck yourself trying to get to the lead here. You just want to be part of it so that you can make it to the end. I'm a little bit nervous about how this 92 is getting so far ahead while everybody is racing side by side behind, just because if they lose the draft to this 92 car, it might be lights out. Dylan Young going to victory lane at that point, but so far I don't think they've lost it. I think they're still sniffing it from behind, and they're just trying to keep up at this point.
So we're starting lap 17 now, and Dylan Young has a bit of a lead, but Alex in the 3 is closing in on him just a little bit, but now he has to back out a little, and that allows Young to pull away once again. It's all single file from about the top 10, it looks like. Looking back now, the first side-by-side battle is behind Peter Onjak in 10th, who's having another solid run. Elijah Ironhouse in the 8, running 11th. Christian Russell running 12th. But this is the battle for 13th between Alexa Lutchen and Zach Rogers. And Felix Anderson and Jerry Cook are starting to get into this mix as well. They're going to go 3 wide behind Lutchen. That is the battle for 14th place.
Something interesting to note about Lutchen running... not really back in the pack, but it's more like a mid-pack position right now. She's 2nd place in points. She's had an absolutely stellar season, but as of the last couple of weeks, that 50 car just isn't looking quite like it did before, and we've got a lead change here. Great for me to see that the 3 car has gotten back out front there with a pass for the lead. I assume it was probably the same as what's been happening all day, going to the bottom, getting around, and then going back to the top and cutting it off. But, you know, this race is not over yet. We've seen 3 cars lead this race so far that have been able to dominate while they were out front and lose it based on timing. So the passes have to be done at the right spot on the track in the right time with the right amount of momentum, and it's difficult to time it out. You know, you're driving a car at over 200 miles an hour. It's really difficult. Here we go, the 92. He just did it right as I was talking about it. He timed it out. He's going to the bottom. The 7 is coming behind with a little bit of a push in the draft. And now the 3 car is going to lose this lead again, and Matthew Polanski's going to go 3 wide going into 1.
That has not worked for him the majority of the times he has tried that, and it hasn't worked this time either. But it has worked for Dylan Young, because he is now clear of this 3 car and the 7 of Aaron Hall. He's back in the lead where he wants to stay. But the question is, what can Alex and Aaron do to catch up to Dylan Young in this 92? Because Polanski, Dinoto, Davey, Caggiano, they're all back there. They're all trying to mount a challenge, but really the running order has been kind of stagnant aside from their top 3 who have been trading the lead back and forth between them. But so far, not behind them, not many passes have been able to be made, mainly because the field's been spread out so much.
Yeah, the single file racing has made it really difficult to pass people. The 3's going for a move right here into turn 3. And I'm noticing that Matthew Polanski has made it up into 3rd place. You know, slow and steady up the standings that 18 car goes. And now making a move for 2nd in the draft. Except they're getting a little bit wild. I don't know who's going to prevail at this point because they're 2 and 3 wide back behind. So we'll see. We'll see what happens through turn 1 and 2. It's going to be interesting.
Polanski's got the preferred groove finally, but it looks like he just doesn't have the horsepower to get around that 3 car, who manages to hold him off for the time being. They're still side by side going into turn 3. Dylan Young continues to lead the way by a good margin over these guys. Polanski actually could get around Alex here for 2nd, and it looks like he will. So put Polanski in 2nd now, as Aaron Hall has slipped back to 5th place behind his teammate Sam Dinoto. So a lot of action taking place in the middle of this pack. As we approach the halfway lap, Dylan Young's starting to pull away a little.
Yeah, he is starting to pull away, you know, and every single time that 92 car has gotten out front, he's started to pull away because everybody's racing behind. So we got Matthew Polanski behind him now. This is the first time that 18 car has been in 2nd place. We'll see if he's able to mount a charge and get to 1st place. We've seen the 3 do it. We've seen the 7 do it. Maybe that 18 car can do it as well.
But Dylan Young wants to put a stranglehold on this race. He wants to prove to us and to the people here in the stands that he is a name that belongs, and he wants to prove that he can win races at this level, and he's searching for his first still, but I believe he can do it. He's got the speed, he's got the talent, he's got the car under him, and as we approach halfway, he's in a very good position right here.
Yeah, and he's had good runs in the past, so I wouldn't expect anything less out of this car, you know. It's looking really good right now in this race. It's all about just staying patient at this point in the race. You have to stay patient. You don't want to get too aggressive. You don't want to wreck your car. You don't want to wreck anybody else's cars. You want to just stay calm, stay patient, be there at the end, because if you're there at the end, you've got a chance to win it.
Coming off of turn 2, you can see the field stringing out down the back straightaway. It looks like the first side-by-side battles for 3rd just settled in favor of Sam Dinoto in the 00. He's making a move into the top 3 now as he pushes his fellow Toyota of Polanski up towards the front, trying to get around Dylan Young, but to no avail. But Dinoto decides to bail on his partner for the time being and make a move for 2nd himself. They're going 3 wide once again for the lead. This time it's Dinoto in the wrong spot, and they both have the back out of it. The running order stays the same. Dylan Young continues to lead.
Yeah, that was. I wonder if the 18 has, or if any of these drivers have started to catch on to the fact that if there's somebody low and you can make it 3 wide, if you're the guy in the middle, you can be the leader coming out of the corner. It didn't work that time, of course. It might have been a late move from the 18 car. We might see something here. The 00's right up on the bumper of the 18 car, pushing him. We'll see. Here's a move for the lead, going into 1. We'll see if the 92 is able to hold it. The 18 is going to have to check up. Not enough room to slide up the track like you need to keep your momentum. So staying in 2nd place, probably going to go back to 3rd, in fact, and fall to the grasp of Sam Dinoto, who has now moved up into 2nd place after falling back early.
Could he win 2 in a row? We've seen Stephen Hunter in the Superstar Series win 3 races in a row before his crash at Las Vegas halted that streak. But could Sam Dinoto make it another streak beginning here at Texas World with 2 in a row? It's very possible, and it could happen here if he can get around Dylan Young. The question is, that's a big if he can get around Dylan Young, because Young is mounting a very good charge of staying in the exact spot where he needs to be, blocking all charges. And right now, he's just got a very good stretch of track ahead of him. He's got fresh, clean air in front of him, and he doesn't have to worry about anyone other than the cars behind him who may get runs on him. But even then, he can put his car in the right places at the right times to defend.
Yeah, this car has been really impressive out front so far. Of the 3 cars that we've seen out front, this 92 car definitely looks the best. Able to move around, able to block, able to keep the momentum when there's somebody making a pass. It's going to be really difficult to get by the 92 car. We have seen it, but the 92 always ends up back out front. So we'll see how it goes. It's going to be interesting to see if anybody can figure out what's going on here. If anybody's able to adjust how they're driving and pass the 92 car. But right now it seems like it's just raw speed leading this race.
With Dylan Young out in front, the 3 and 7, the 2 leaders early in this race, have fallen back to 4th and 5th. With Mark Davey right behind him in 6th, Ryan Caggiano 7th, Keon Daly, Keith Hughes, Peter Onjak rounding out the top 10. As we're going back through this 41-car field to show you some battles going on further back in the pack. You can see Aaron Hall. He's had a very good run of success in his limited number of starts this year. He's gone full-time since Patrick Smith got moved up to the Superstar Series, and he's been proving that he deserves it ever since. And with Mark Davey and Ryan Caggiano continuing their battle for 6th, ahead of Keon Daly, Caggiano's teammate in the 52. Daly started in 4th, and he slipped back to 8th since then. But it's still a good top 10 run from the Kings Motorsports Group, who currently have 3 of their 4 cars in the top 10.
Yeah, they look really good. They always look good at every single track, it seems, as we move farther back through the pack here. But those Kings Motorsports guys always looking really, really stout every single week.
Keith Hughes, the best of the ZD Autosport cars, in 9th. And behind him is the battle for the final top 10 position between Elijah Ironhouse in the 8 and Peter Onjak in the 70. Onjak got his first top 10 of the season last week at Las Vegas with his 10th place run. He's trying to replicate that here this afternoon. But Ironhouse is mounting a bit of a challenge. He backed off there. But don't count out this 8 car for a shot at the top 10, because he definitely wants to prove that he's on the same level as his championship leading teammate in the 3. As Christian Russell, Alexa Lutchen, and Felix Anderson continue their battle for 12th, with Russell winning out in that battle for the time being. And looking back to the field, you can see Zach Rogers in 15th, Jerry Cook 16th, as we look at Felix Anderson sporting those Pepsi colors for the 2nd time this season. He rocked that look back at Pensacola. To start the season, Zach Rogers currently 15th, Jerry Cook 16th, like we said. Jared Jackson running in 17th. Not quite the run we expected out of this 23 car, but considering his engine failure at Las Vegas, I'm sure he'll be happy with a top 20 finish to get him back on his feet.
Yeah, for sure. And I've always had high expectations for that team. They're just finding their footing at the moment, just making sure they can get to the end of these races.
Chris Lattimore in 19th, his best run of the season so far, ahead of Eric Monaco, who led practice earlier in the weekend in 20th. And then, well back behind them is this pack, led by Giovanni Pena in the 99, leading Logan Williams, Kason Cooper, and Curtis Stevenson in the 66. These cars are well behind the lead pack. They're about 10 seconds off the lead. So the main pack has been split into 2, and this second pack led by Pena, Williams, and the rest. Stevenson currently 24th, ahead of Chastain in the 10, running in the 25th position, ahead of Jose Guerrero. He started in the top 10, but he's faded back to 26th. Able to grow it, running 27th. He's had a couple top 10 runs this season, but not quite where he wants to be this week. Kyle Corbett in 28th, ahead of Zachary DeLello in 29th, and Earl Sear rounds out the top 30 as these two battle it out for the 29th position. And looking back, I did not expect this kind of run out of Nikki Martinez. She's battling for 31st with Sam Warning and the Pensacola winner, Kenneth Grant. Both of those cars, the 25 and the 55. I didn't expect this kind of run out of them. They've been good all season, but not here. They've just struggled mightily.
Yeah, that's really fascinating from those two cars. Really fast cars, of course, but it makes you wonder, maybe starting position and track position have a lot more to do with how the runs go at this place than we anticipated before the race had started.
Santiago Alvarez runs 34th, David Dixon 35th, Bill Capri and Devin Fair battling for 36th ahead of TJ Murray, AJ Jones running 39th ahead of the 27 back there. There you see him, John McFadden. And behind them is Sam Joseph in the 76, well behind them. He is the last car running, and they're all on the lead lap for the time being. But right now, it's Dylan Young out in front of Sam Dinoto and Matthew Polanski. The lead has not changed since we took you through the field. We're closing in on 10 laps to go in this race, so time is starting to run out on these guys.
Yeah, and with everybody running at about the same speed, I don't anticipate lap cars being any issue right now. Of course, it's possible that lap cars could become an issue. I don't anticipate a caution either because of the way that everybody's running. It seems like there's enough room on this track to go 3 wide without any kind of immediate danger in doing so of crashing. So it seems like there's a good chance that this thing is going to go to the end, and it also seems like there's a good chance that there won't be any influence on the leaders other than the leaders themselves racing for it. So we'll see who can do it. The only car so far in this race that has passed the 92 from while the 92 is in the lead is that 3 car running in 4th place. Still in it, still has a shot to do it again, but he's got to get by the 00 and the 18, and it looks like he knows it going all the way from the top to the bottom. That's the elevator move right there. It didn't work out. But all the way from the top to the bottom trying to make the move. It's desperation time. Coming to 11 to go right here.
Coming to the start-finish line to start lap 40. This is 11 laps to go at Texas World Speedway, and Dylan Young has led the majority of this race. He will take home the bonus point from most laps led. And this race fastest lap point, though, is held by Matthew Polanski in that 18 car. So it's a good run from Polanski. Running in 3rd, has the fastest lap point available to him, and I don't think he's going to lose it, considering the lap times have fallen off a little bit since the start of the race, and we don't anticipate any pit stops from here on out. So Matthew Polanski currently holds that point, and it looks like he's going to keep it, but he wants to gain 10 more points by passing these 2 cars ahead of him as they go 3 wide for 2nd.
Yeah, it was a really good move from the 18 car. Oh, and it doesn't work out. He had to check up a little bit there. Sam Dinoto is really good on the outside, really carries that momentum well. I really thought that the 18 was going to get it there after the 3 car made it 3 wide. That was the classic textbook move here at Texas World Speedway, but to no avail for sure. It looks like now the 3 car, this whole group has been pretty much right with each other for the entire race, but there hasn't been a lot of actual passing. It's been a lot of side by side, but nobody's really getting around each other. It's very fascinating that that's happening. I really expected that those runs would carry through, but they're just going so fast that they can't go much faster in the draft.
9 laps to go at Texas World Speedway, and Sam Dinoto has caught the 92 of Young, but Dinoto's trying to find a way around. He's got half a lane advantage on Young coming out of turn 4 this time, but I just don't see how he's going to make a move stick unless he goes down to the bottom, and he does. It's just tough to make passes on that bottom lane. We've seen it time and time again in these races. There you see it again. He has to back off and try it again. If he can get to the outside of the 92, that's going to be where he has a chance. But he could make a move work right now. He's got a fender on the 92 of Young, but going down into 3 and 4, he's still got a fender on him. That's the best we've seen anybody hold on
if
that
the
bottom
18
lane.
helps him, this could be good. Oh, but he won't. He's going 3 wide.
He wants to lead this race. They're going 3 wide at Texas World Speedway. There's plenty of room for 3, 4, even 5 wide here, so space is not an issue. But with 7 laps to go in this race, Dylan Young is holding off all challengers, and he looks set to get his first career win unless something wild happens here at this finish, which is not out of the question by any stretch.
No, not at all out of the question. In fact, I'm starting to realize now that I think that it's a lack of grip in the tires. The tires are pretty old. They've been racing for 44 laps straight here. They're hot. They're old tires. It's a really hot day, 100 degrees here at Texas World Speedway, and you know the tires are starting to wear out. You're starting to lose a little bit of grip, and the bottom lane is where you need the most grip because you're trying to stick it on the track and race at a tighter radius than the outside lane. So you're trying to turn the wheel more, you're trying to keep it down there, and it's just not working. That's why they have to back off every single time. So they need to start figuring out how to make moves to the outside of the leader. You mentioned it a little bit earlier, just a couple seconds ago. You know, you got to go to the outside. That's how you're going to make the pass.
As you saw in the back of your shot, Elijah Ironhouse did make that pass on Peter Onjek. He is now in the top 10 in 1.8 seconds off the lead, but right now, the focus with 5 laps to go is this battle for the lead between Young, Dinoto, Verjet in the 3, Polanski in the 18, and Aaron Hall is back there still. But the running order has been pretty stagnant throughout this race. It's almost like a street race, almost, where the running order doesn't change that much. But this track is quite the opposite. We've got a lot of room for passing, a lot of room for 3 and 4 wide, and we've seen 3 and 4 wide this afternoon. What we haven't seen is a lot of passing, and I imagine that's just because the tire fall-off is a bit higher than these drivers envisioned as we're coming to 4 laps of racing.
Yeah, we talked about it at the top of the show. Conservation of your stuff is going to be key, and I don't know if any of these drivers conserve their stuff. They were racing pretty hard for a long time, going 2 and 3 wide, and right now, even still, they are at the point where you need to in this race, but there's just... the equipment is not there right now. The grip is not there. The traction is not there right now for people to be able to make moves and pass. It's just you need to set up your pass a lap or so before you actually make it. It looks like maybe, nope, had to back out again through turn 1. The outside lane through turn 1 and 2 is really, on entry at least, is really dominant. And they're still too wide, not for long. We'll see. I don't know. We're coming to the close of this race, and the 92 is looking really stout out front.
Coming to 2 laps to go here, and Dylan Young is stretching that advantage. So Jeffrey Finguy, watching from Texas Motor Speedway, he's got to be happy about the performance of his car out in the lead of this race. 2 laps of racing to go. Sam Joseph is about a straightaway ahead of these guys, so lap traffic, as he said, will not be an issue in this race, as we've got about 1 2/3 laps left in this race. And Dinoto's got to make a charge. He's got to start planning his charge now if he wants to make that move stick.
It's all about timing here at this track. It's all about timing. You need to time it just right. You need to work the draft. You need to make sure you get there at the spot. Right about here is where you need to make the move. I don't know if the 00 is close enough. It doesn't look like he's going to be close enough. He's going to have one more shot to do it on this final lap.
White flag in the air one more time around at Texas World Speedway, and Dinoto has to back off again. But he's got to build a run off the turn 2, get sucked up to the back of the 92, and work on that draft, trying to make a move in the turn 3 on the final lap. We've seen the inside lane prove to be a bit more advantageous here, but he's just not close enough. So coming through turn 3 and 4 for the final time, Dylan Young in the 92. He's executed a flawless race today, and as they come to the start-finish line, Dylan Young takes the checkers, his first career win at Texas World Speedway.
Absolutely well done from that team. Dylan Young, fantastic drive today. The car was just perfect. At least it looked perfect from up here, but you know, unbeatable today. You know, once he took the lead, he got past once and then immediately took it right back. Just a fantastic drive. We thought maybe there was a chance somebody could beat him there, but in reality, there wasn't. There was no shot for any of these other drivers. The 92 dominated this race.
Sam Dinoto comes home second after his first win last week. He'll take a second-place finish here. Matthew Polanski with his career best run in third, ahead of Alex Verjet, another top 5. He'll extend his lead at the top of the table in fourth. And Aaron Hall gets his first top 5 that did not result in a victory for him. He will take home the 5th position ahead of Mark Davey, his best career finish on an oval. He'll take that result in 6th. Brian Caggiano 7th. Keith Hughes up to 8th at the end. Elijah Ironhouse fought his way to 9th. And then Keon Daly managed to slip back to 10th at the end of this race. Well, we've got one race under our belt here at Texas, and now we go a little ways north and a little ways east to Fort Worth for Texas Motor Speedway for the Superstar Series. That ought to be a fun race. You got to get on the jet and hurry over there. You're starting pretty well in that race, so we expect big things from you here in that race. So good luck to you there, and we'll see what happens. Final thoughts from Texas World Speedway.
You know, I really enjoyed watching this race, even though it was dominated. I think that it just shows how fast these cars can go around the high banked corners here. A really unique victory lane that we're looking at right now. I really love that. It's like a stage. But, you know, well-deserved win from Dylan Young and the 92 crew today. Well done for them, and I'm so excited for next week. I love watching and doing these races.
Next week, unfortunately, is an off week for the Nitro National Series, but we will be back in 2 weeks' time. We will be back in 2 weeks' time for the race at Denver Motorsports Park. You won't want to miss that one. It's going to be an interesting layout, very similar to this, a little flatter, but that shouldn't be an issue for these cars to tackle the mid-banking of Denver Motorsports Park. So from Duke Anzac and from myself, as always, say goodbye from Texas World Speedway, and congratulations to Dylan Young. He gets his first career win in the sweltering heat here in College Station, Texas.